Hello everyone, no respawns here. Hope you're having an enjoyable midweek. So we're back at the castle, and I've got my plans. I've pretty much got it, like, at least this first layer sorted out. So those of you who remember, I'm kind of going for a slight Megaton vibe with this. And this, okay, for the title of the video, is my clinic. So what we're going to be doing is, I was trying to figure out how am I going to make the castle look cool. Because as you know, I want it to kind of be inspired-ish by Megaton in the sense that we've got this kind of central courtyard area and then the buildings kind of come out from this. And then you've got the various tiers. And I knew I wanted these areas down the bottom here. This is just me using prefabs. So you slapping it there and then you can slap the ceilings. But I do actually change the roofs around because they look bollocks. But no, I realised what I wanted to do was I wanted to have set piece pieces and then kind of more kind of filler structures to kind of draw attention towards them. So what I mean by that is you'll see, well, I've mentioned in the video, like, this is kind of filler shacks, but I'm going to show you how that I'm going to build a very, very simple shacks that I'm going to put about next to this clinic. And because what my plan is to have a general store and possibly on this kind of the first level for the castle, and then maybe like a guns, like an armory or like a quartermaster or something like that. And then between them will be these quite simplistic filler shacks. Not so much as to kind of like, I'll be lazy or anything like that, but more so to kind of draw attention to these key areas. I might make them a little bit more exciting on the outside. I'm not too sure yet, but they're quite basic as of now. But it's quite cool. It took me ages to figure this out. Because I was trying to get an idea of like, okay, what am I doing? Also, what I do with this is I've got to, and this is kind of a big pro building tip I have, especially if you're like me, where you've built like loads, is don't be too afraid to kind of rehash but slightly tweak old ideas. Because that's something I'm always worrying about right now, is like I feel like I don't know if I have anything new to show you, because you probably noticed already, I'm always trying to make every single video new and interesting. And I found that it's really hard for me to get out of this mindset. To get out of that mindset, but you end up building something that when it's finished and decorated is still new and interesting. So it's just pro tip there. I'm saying that to you guys because I had to really like psych myself up earlier, because I was like, I got it in my head how it's got to look, but I don't know how to build something. This looks a little bit more ramshackle than I was intending, but the end result is cool, trust me. So I'm quite pleased by this. Quite pleased. Now I do actually build a rather funky ramp that I don't show you how I made, but I will be building others, so I'll make sure to show it later down the line. You're going to see the floor pieces expand rather abruptly, because this was kind of like the first interior structure video. I wasn't too sure how to kind of roll with it, I guess, and I end up kind of cutting loads out because I'm like, right, this is just taking ages. I think it was about 2 hours of me fucking around. It's going to be an interesting one. I do have slight worries on AI pathing, as you can see already with those Minutemen. I'm going to have more ways for them to get out of areas like this. You can see right there, I'm going to have loads of walkways to get out of the central area, because they're just being twats, basically. And I do want them to be able to walk around. It's weird, actually, because I didn't have so much this trouble with my old castle. So what happened with my old castle was they would all kind of badger around roughly where the radio dude is there, and then they kind of just emerged up, but they would eventually walk around the area, whereas those guys seem to be getting stuck. I don't know what it is. I'll just have to put more ladders. Oh, by the way, did you see right there a second I deleted some boards, and you see where I've got those board pieces, right? That's from the CVA, Custom Vanilla Assets mod. I take them off because it looked bollocks. I just wanted an excuse to use it. I like that mad mod, but the problem is I'm like, oh, I've got to use something from it. Like, Davey, you don't have to use something from it just because it's there, yeah? Just a pro tip as well. When you always get new tools, you want to use them, but I'm still getting used to the mod. Trying to figure out, okay, what can I use anything from this? Basically, lots of billboards. I'm thinking of using it for big stuff. So the good thing, what I'm doing is I wanted to change the ceiling part up a little bit. And I realise I can just, well, spend ages fucking around because I'm a complete twat, but also I can actually just snap bollocks in. God, this place is going to look cool. So basically, while I'm on the subject, it was put in the comments of the last video. I mentioned with the Custom Vanilla Assets mod that you have those objects that you can't, like those ones that don't have a green, that that aren't green when you like aren't green highlighted there, right? And that they don't let you place them, specifically the lights. So what you do, loads of people describe it, explain to me, it's really, really simple, and I had it working earlier, is if you're on, say, the lights or any kind of item that has no collision, and it's not placing it, just aim at the floor a little bit, and then scroll to your side, left or right, until you come across an item that's green and can be placed. Make sure it's green, don't move your cursor, don't place it, and then scroll immediately back to the old item. Like you see, like, so I'm scrolling to that board there, and then I'd scroll back. Make sure that you don't cross any other green items on the way through, and it will allow you to place them. It takes a bit of practice. You'll get it. It's quite simple. I was intending to put loads of those lantern lights in this build, like between the, you'll see in a second, when we get to the shack. And the tour, I have like little, I beef out the walkways between the buildings, but it's actually not. It's too low to actually have those lantern lights. However, once we get to the upper layers, then we can have the lantern lights. That look really, really cool. So as you can see, I'm just kind of trying to make, okay, so the premise, because obviously this is, I'm not really kind of giving you any details on what I'm doing specifically with this clinic, but I'm just kind of trying to build it in an unconventional manner to have a slightly more open than normal kind of metal and kind of corrugated steel and wood structure, because that's kind of how I want my clinic to look. It actually ends up looking pretty decent, surprisingly so, which I'm quite pleased with. I think the next one, like I said, I want a kind of a general store and then like a quartermaster. I might have like an armory or something. The one thing I'm going to have the castle is that I don't know what I'm going to do with the interior. Because I think with the annoying thing with the castle is there's absolutely shit tons to do on the inside as well. I like the structure. Look how weird that is. Like, it's weird looking. I like it. When it's decorated, you like it. It's kind of like, it looks like a prefab. It's very, very cool. Obviously putting the plywood boards down. Really cool thing. In the custom villa assets mod, I'll make a point of using them in the next video, actually, because I did it in my decoration. There's loads of, oh, this is my favourite sign ever, by the way. The mega surgery sign. That's why we have a clinic. The only reason this video is a clinic, because I wanted to use that sign. But in the custom villa assets mod, there's loads of decorations to put on the floor. So, like, alongside those plywoods, you've also got, like, grating and boards and shit like that. And you'll see it a little bit in the tour, but I think I might draw attention to them in one of my videos, and I'll even try and remember the tabs they're in as well. So you guys can actually, I'm having trouble with this because I have to obviously get it as close as I possibly can, although I do want to be able to walk around. But yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff in the custom villa, the CVA mod. Let's just go that CVA mod. But I'm still getting used to it. See, I like this weird. It's not very. When it's finished, you'll see. It looks really good. So also what I do is, wow, so I'm building my little filler shack now. These are all basics, and there's that awesome bridge that I didn't show you how I made, which I really should have, but it was just, there was too much bollocks to show you. So I won't be showing you me making these shacks unless they're particularly unique and interesting. There's something like painfully basic. There's really simple, because I was trying to think how I draw attention to the certain elements. Now, I will probably spice them up. Like, the exteriors I don't do anything with at all. They're really simple little shacks with little bits on the side. But I will probably try and spice them up with some canopies, things like canopies as in, like, sheets, not canapes as in tiny pieces of food. Like, you know, canopies and things like that. To kind of give them a little bit more interesting elements on the outside, but I still want to keep them to these kind of small little kind of box shacks where people actually live. Obviously with doorways, the reason why I'm doing like this is because of the weird heights of how I want them matching into where the walkways are. It's just so much easier to kind of, like the weird lengths, to just kind of pillar glitch them in rather than snap them on, because if you snap them on, they won't snap on exactly central to where you want them to go. So you can see, there's nothing really fancy about what I'm doing. However, these are actually quite essential for the whole, to give a kind of populated feel to the build as well. This is almost, actually, those of you remember, my old sanctuary, so my last one, the massive one I was going to do, and I did that, you know, whole urban planning video with the intention of doing something that was kind of like loads of little streets. Again, for those of you who don't know, I scrapped that because it was on PS4 and it was just an FPS nightmare. I just had too much stuff over such a small area. It just wasn't really working. However, now, with this, it's a lot smaller area. So you can say, just plop that in there. I like to leave a little bit of a gap. I probably should have actually left a little bit more of a gap, so you can kind of give the idea of, see what I'm doing right now, popping a bit of plywood down to kind of link up to the bits and pieces. I have to use the select all glitch to move that in, but it's fine. I make it look quite cool. This is going to be very cool, so I think I'm still going to be also alongside the castle vid, still doing other stuff as well, because I've, got Egret tours I want to still finish, and like Nordhagen stuff, but we'll try and make the castle the priority. Like, probably the next video will probably be a castle vid, because I want to try and at least finish this central ring. You may all notice as well, and you'll see it a bit more in the tour, I've added, for the railings around the, you can see it just there, but I'll highlight in the tour a bit more, but I want to have railings on the inside of this walkway. However, I didn't want to have actual railings because they were way too big. Like, they were up to your chest. It was too high. So what I've actually done is I've pillar glitched railings in, but kind of at a lower angle. You'll see a little bit better. There we go. So here's the tour. As you can see, I've added kind of a lot of detail. It's quite straightforward, but it looks nice. And now imagine this with like loads of buildings surrounding it. And also, as you can see right, to your left there. Now I've walked away, you little fuck. Is that I've put railings in and kind of sunk them in so they're basically just ankle height. So this will stop you walking off, and it's noticeably stopping you from falling off, but also it looks cool. And as you can see right here, I've kind of added another shack in, and I put some walkways in. Just the idea is I wanted to kind of give you a visual aid on how the kind of little streets are going to go. I still don't know what we're going to actually put in this central courtyard area. I could put food there, or maybe somewhere for like traders to stop. I'm actually not sure, but it's going to look quite cool. Now my plan, as I said, is to have this going up into several tiers. Hopefully it works out like that, but if it has to be changed on the fly, if we end up having, for example, no tiers and it's just one giant urban area, then it'll have to be like that. Anyway, hope you guys like that. As always, follow me on Twitter at norespawns. I'll talk to you lovely people soon. You take care.